Hello, and welcome to Discovery Corner. I'm Claire Melvin. Pop the kettle on, pour yourself a glass of wine, maybe even put your trainers on or run a bath, and join me for another journey of discovery. If you're anything like me, when you think of April, there are always a few things that spring to mind. April showers, hot crust buns, cherry blossoms, and spring cleaning. I like to think that I keep my home pretty clean and tidy, but there are always things on the stairs, nearly always things on the stairs. There's usually a box that needs to either get broken down or put up in the loft. And I've actually just bought a few books to fit into my somewhat crammed bookcase. And I try and have a one in, one out policy. So they're currently sitting on a shelf, but I think I can do a bit of reorganisation and they will fit. Now, you may be wondering what I know about decluttering, which is what we're going to talk about this month, and organisation, and the dreaded big clean, and how can I offer any real guidance? And that's an excellent question. So other than an obsession with sort your life out in 7 days, and if you're UK based, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, the discovery of Swedish death cleaning, it's not easy to say, and more on that a bit later. I have trained as a professional organiser and declutterer, and I also have over 20 years experience of working as a personal assistant and am now running my third business. So I understand the importance of being organised and of knowing when you come to find something, it's always where it should be, or usually where it should be. So for me, simple examples are a key rack in my kitchen, which is nowhere near any doors or windows, but somewhere that all my keys live. I have a box in my office where my passport lives, and all my files and documents are saved in folders on my laptop, and they're all called sensible things. So I've got a folder for when I bought my house, one for knitting patterns, and you name it, and there's probably a folder for it. So I mostly practice what I preach. I don't want to spend half an hour looking for my travel card when I'm leaving the house, but of course, I am only human. So if you're looking around your home and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed by what you see, the first thing I would say is breathe. And then be compassionate with yourself. And if things have piled up, it's happened over time. A piece of paper here, a magazine there, and because it's taken time to get to where it is, it may not be fixed overnight. And it's also important to recognise what the reasons are. Do you have a new job, or have you changed working patterns? Has been a change to family dynamics or circumstances? And by understanding how you are where you are, means that once you have your home how you want it to be, it won't fall back, and you won't fall back into old habits. And it can be really helpful to talk to someone. You could speak to a trusted friend or a family member, a coach. You can look up ABDO, which is the Association of Professional Declutterers and Organisers. And you could even try looking at local cleaners. So, for example, my friend Lizzie has a cleaning company called Tembo, and they're trained to offer compassionate support for hoarding disorder and chronic disorganisation. Now, incidentally, whilst I just mentioned here hoarding disorder, this podcast won't be discussing that in any detail, but it is something I'd like to come back to in a future episode. So you may be thinking, it's great there's support out there, but actually I want to try and tackle it myself. I've reached a point where I can't see for 75 pens, 60 mugs, I don't know, 100 pairs of shoes, and I want to start now. In which case, pull up a chair and get comfy. And remember, there's no blame here. And if you can find a sense of humour whilst you do this, it will help you get through this, I promise. So, where do you start? How do you start? When do you start? As with most things, this is all up to you. I would think about the time you have available to you. If you want to blitz your whole house, that will take longer than, say, going through your sock drawer. So think about a time frame that's realistic. And you don't want to pull everything out of drawers and then realize that you have plans and you put everything back. And so it's probably advisable to pick one room, start there, and set aside several hours and go from there. So the next question, which room? And this is how it can become overwhelming and how you can maybe put off starting. So you could choose a room that you spend a lot of time in, for example, the kitchen. You could choose a room which may only take a couple of hours, so for example, the bathroom. You could choose your bedroom because you want a sanctuary. Ultimately, if your goal is your whole house, it doesn't really matter where you start. Just maybe choose where you feel you would have the most benefit from tackling that room. So for, sense of argument, let's go with the kitchen. So before you get started, have some supplies and some boxes at hand. So you can make 4 piles. There's a keep pile, a sell pile, a donate pile, and a throw away pile. So you have your supplies, your designated piles, you're enthusiastic, it's time to go. A couple of final steps. So pour yourself a glass of water, as it's important to stay hydrated, and put the radio on or have some tunes going. Run a bowl of hot soapy water and set a timer for an hour. Now you may be thinking, Claire, I have the whole day. The sun's out. I'm enthusiastic. I want to do this. Why are you stifling me? And I promise you, I'm not. You can get a lot done in an hour. Also, you don't know what memories may come up for you. And if you have one focused hour, you'll be surprised at just how much you can get done in that time. And one final note. Before you get started, this is how you decide what to keep. So you may be familiar with Marie Kondo. A few years ago, we all went mad for her. Does it spark joy? Was her mantra, as I seem to recall. Now, if I were to ask that of my running tights, the answer would be no. There is nothing joyful about me running. Am I going to get rid of my running tights, however? No, probably not. So it's a great question to ask, but it's not the only one. Is it broken? If it is, can you fix it? And if you can fix it, will you fix it? And set a date. So if you haven't fixed it or repaired it within, a month or 2 months, then at that point, let it go. Do you like it? This is actually a really important question. Do you have something that your mum, your sister, your great aunt Dot gave you, and you secretly loathe, but you've kept it because you don't want to hurt their feelings? And if the answer is yes, and let's face it, the answer is always yes, we all have gifts we don't really want or like, and I give you permission to rehome it and let it be loved by somebody else. So as far as I'm concerned, I want the person to whom I gift something to love it. Of course I do. But as soon as it's in their possession, it's up to them to do with it whatever they want. And because I feel that way, I'm okay to do the same. So have I exchanged gifts? Yes. Have others found their way to new homes? Yes. That doesn't make me a terrible person. It just means I don't want a house full of stuff, and more importantly, stuff I don't actually like. So you've asked yourself if it's broken and if you like it. So the next question, do you need it? And this can have follow-up questions. Do you want it? Do you use it? And a great example for this is kitchen gadgets. Do you have or do you use your bread maker, your ice cream maker, your smoothie maker, or insert whatever kitchen gadget or gadgets of choice? I have a waffle machine. I bought it a couple of years ago. I love it. Have I used it this year? No. Will I use it? Yeah, I think so. It's a weekend treat. I'm currently trying to lose weight, and waffles do not help with that. But I have a drawer in my kitchen for my gadgets and my appliances, so I'm okay with keeping it. So remember, this is your stuff. You can help or you can keep whatever you want. But also, if you want to declutter, if you want to have a tidier, less filled home, you do have to let some stuff go. So, you have your 4 piles, your washing up bowl, list of questions to ask yourself, the radio's on, the sun's shining. Just hit the timer for an hour. Now, can you start? So one final question. Do you have a clear surface? So you're going to be moving everything from one of your cupboards or drawers, so all needs to go somewhere. So once you have that, yes, you can start. And a good place to start is something like with mugs or glasses or even Tupperware. So if every base doesn't have a lid, bin it. Easy. I moved house 18 months ago, and about 2 years ago, I started decluttering. As I knew I didn't want to take everything with me, I didn't want to pay to take things with me that I knew that I wouldn't want in my new home. And I started off with my mug cupboard. I can't remember the exact number, but I had over 20 mugs, which, might not seem a lot. I live on my own. I don't need 20 mugs. I'd also dropped my favourite mug and it had a massive crack in it. So I gave myself permission to buy another mug, a new mug, and it was to celebrate the Chinese New Year of that year, which was a dragon, because I'm a dragon. And with the promise that I would keep it, I'd wrap it and keep it wrapped up in its box. I'd use my favourite mug until I moved, and then I would throw it away and I would start using my dragon mug when I moved to my new home. And that's what I did. And now in my cupboard, I have 6 mugs. Caveat is that I have Christmas mugs in the loft, and around November time, I bring them down, I swap them out, but it's so much more manageable. I have mugs I truly love, and the remainder I sold a few of them. I'd never used them, they still had their boxes, but everything is just so much simpler. So you've whittled down your mugs. So the next question is, do you just put them straight back in the cupboard where you found them from? As you've taken the trouble to remove them all and you've sorted them out, you've got your hot bowl of hot soapy water or a dishwasher, if you have one of those. Give them all a good wash, a good clean. Clean the cupboard, and it's now empty, and put your mugs back in. And then repeat with the rest of the kitchen. Simple. It will feel so much more manageable tackling it one cupboard at a time, or even one shelf at a time. And you may want to hit your timer again, because that probably has taken an hour, and you think, oh, this is great, I feel really good, I'm going to do another one. Or you might go, do you know what, I said I would do the mugs, I've done the mugs, I'm really happy with that, I'll come back to it tomorrow. Remember, this is your time, pace yourself to do whatever you want to do. Of course, now that you've whittled down your mugs a little bit, you might think, so where the mugs live, it makes much more sense for the dried fruit or the tea or the vinegar or oils or insert whatever to live. But it's easier to do the cull one cupboard at a time, put things back temporarily, and then when you have less of everything, to move things around. Otherwise, you'll just have more stuff out, you won't be able to find what you want, and it all becomes stressful and overwhelming, which is what you're trying to avoid in the first place. And a great way to help you do this is with Post-it notes. So look at, for example, where your oven is, and that creates essentially a zone. So by your oven, you want to have your kind of tinned food, your pastas, your oils and vinegars and cooking sauces, your pots and your pans. And if they're all on other sides of the room, can you rearrange something so they can go in that area? And in which case, pop your Post-it note up on the cupboard door where you think they're going to live. Look at where your kettle is. It makes sense where your kettle is to have your tea, your coffee, your biscuits, if you have biscuits, your mugs. And do this as you look around your kitchen. And this is why you use your Post-it notes. Think about, pop them on the doors and think, is this the best place for it to live? Play around with it a little bit. And then once you feel that you're happy that actually it's fine where it is, or no, I like it being around somewhere else. Rather than moving things 15 times, you keep it there once, then you move it in one go. So that's a little suggestion for how you can then reorganize your streamlined kitchen. So what we've spoken up to about now is what to do if you're just decluttering and trying to reduce your worldly possessions. If you're doing this with a specific goal in mind, for example, you're decorating, you're moving house, or you have another change in circumstances, you aren't necessarily going to be putting everything back. You're still going to reduce your possessions, but this time, keep out a few mugs, a few of whatever and everything, and then pack the rest into boxes. And the better you label them, the easier you will find it when you come to unpack them. So for each box, for example, in your kitchen, write kitchen on the top of the box. And this is a great tip I saw. I thought it was after I moved, but if I move again or want to move again, I will do this definitely. Is give each room a colour. And that makes it so much easier spotting boxes. If you're taking them off, you can say, oh, that's the red box, that goes into the kitchen. And then also write on it what it is. So, for example, mugs or cleaning products or waffle machine, whatever it is. And then the future you will thank the present you when you move and you're not discovering a box of mugs in your bedroom or your skiing clothes in the lounge. So you've sorted some stuff out. You've decided to get rid of it, let it go. You've decided to rehome some things. So what do you do with those things that you no longer want in your home? And that is an excellent question. And the answer probably shouldn't be or isn't. Take it all to the local charity shop and let them deal with it. Or take it to the tip and add it to landfill. Now, obviously, it depends on what the item is, what condition it is. Do you want to sell it? You've got places like eBay, Vinted, Facebook Marketplace. There's also an increasing number of organisations that offer recycling. And you can recycle so many things these days. So batteries, light bulbs at your local supermarket and B&Q, candles, bras, winter coats, electricals. I'll pop some links in the show notes for you so you can have a look. But just these are some ideas. If you have some IKEA furniture, for example, and it's in good condition, I'll buy it back from you. If you have some paint left over from your old decorating projects, you can recycle that at your local B&Q. The list is probably endless, and Google is your friend. And also ask around. If you want to rehome your nan's old china, you may find a relative would love to have it, and you never know what your existing contacts may want. And even they'll come and collect it, and you don't have to worry about getting rid of it, and it's out of your house, and everyone's a winner. But one thing we haven't really touched on is the why. So I want to talk a little bit about that before I start to wrap up. It may seem obvious. Having a home where everything has its own place gives you all peace of mind. You don't lose minutes every day trying to find something. There are no more, Mom, where's the... insert the thing that's been lost. Because everything has a place and everyone is used to putting things back where they should now be once they've finished with them. So without being morbid, there are also practical reasons for this. I recently heard of a gentleman who passed away, and he left behind his wife and adult children. He hadn't made a will, and he was responsible for the financial matters of the home. The adult daughter had to help her mother find the documents, passwords, and it actually made a really stressful situation even harder. So I would say, write a will. I actually talked about it on a previous podcast. Be clear about what you want to happen and share with your partner where the important documents are stored, whether it's a hard copy or online. So that I have a box in my house. It's got my passport, it's got my birth certificate, it's got all those really important documents, and I know exactly where it is. Tell your partner what the passwords are or where they're stored, And what you're trying to do is just give everyone that peace of mind that they'll be okay should anything happen to you. And then this is also where I touch upon Swedish death cleaning. I still can't say it. And at least this is my interpretation of it. So this is you taking responsibility for your own possessions whilst you still can. And it means that you're making life easier for the people who sort of, if anything, I don't know, I get hit by a bus tomorrow, then my poor friends are going to have to come around, empty my house, sell the contents. And I want them to be able to open the front door and not come in and go, oh my God, how much stuff has she got? Why does she need all this? Because, I probably don't. So the principle then of Swedish desk cleaning is kind of going, actually, do I need all of this stuff? Or can I just get rid of some of it now? Keep the stuff I like. I'm not saying get rid of everything because, you have to live. But you're making it easier for your future relatives or people that will have to help sort out your house once you're no longer here. But also you're creating more space and more energy and just ease for you right now. And also I think because for me, as I'm getting older, I would prefer now to do and be things rather to have them. So does that mean I'm now a minimalist with nothing in my house? Of course it doesn't, no. And far from it, actually. But it means that each room has a function, has a purpose. The things in that room should be in that room. I don't have things that are, you would expect to find in the lounge and they're in my bedroom. Everything is in the room that I feel it should be. I like tangible things as well. So I like DVDs, I like books. But I haven't really gone crazy with what I do have. And everything kind of has a place. And that works for me. So as I start to wrap this up, there is so much that I haven't covered, including the likes of digital storage, labeling, zoning, creating multifunctional spaces. Haven't really talked about storage either. But you need to do the cull before you go and get the pretty storage boxes and the pretty labels and put things away. I haven't really talked about the cleaning bit of spring cleaning either. So I dare say I'll revisit this topic again. And if there are any aspects you'd like me to focus on, then please do drop me an email. It can be found at claire@clairemelvincoaching.co.uk, and I will happily take on board your suggestions and come up with something. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of quotes. So Jennifer Noseworthy of the Simply Sorted Home said, "The simpler the space, the calmer the mind." And finally, Ali Kazazar, sorry for mispronouncing your name, I'm sure I have done, a business owner and author said, "Just because the space exists, it doesn't mean it has to be full." So whilst you're enjoying a hot cross bun, think about how you can use the space in your home to create a calmer mind. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Discovery Corner, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Look after yourself, and I'll see you again soon. Stay curious and keep discovering.